let me make sure. There, we are recording officially. Anyway, good afternoon. Hello, my name is Wandra, and I'm going to be your facilitator for today. I don't know, do you all know each other? No. Okay, so why don't we start, thank you, with each person introducing themselves and just saying what brought you here today. And let's start with Jenny. Don't forget to unmute yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Jenny Purishama. I live in Sunnyvale, California, and I'm just very much into sustainability and building community within, trying to make within Sunnyvale, our Baha'i community, more vibrant.
Thank you. Can we go on to Joanne? And Joanne, could you say who the next person will be?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm Joanne Schwandes. I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm an old friend of Sue's. We used to work on peace education for children, harking way back to the 80s. And I've been following Sue all of these years. I tend to think of myself as a coal stoker. If in an engine, she's up there in the conductor's seat, looking down the tracks, and I'm in there shoveling coal as fast as I can to help the movement forward. I was a former Peace Corps volunteer in Honduras in the 60s and 70s. And currently am working on my grandchildren. So I'm attracted to everything that's related to peace and sustainable. And I love the whole concept of conversation to action. And let's go to Gary next.
Okay, I need to unmute myself. Darn. Okay, basically I'm Gary Rouchet and I live in Ukraine. Although I did originally come from the San Francisco area. I'm, I guess, third or fourth generation Californian, but I left the United States in 1975. And I've been working around the world, mostly in agricultural development. And yeah, what else can I say? Maybe that's enough.
Would you please choose the next person, Gary?
And the next person is Pamela.
Hello, my name is Pam. I'm currently living in Michigan, a town called Plymouth, not far from Ann Arbor, which is where the University of Michigan is. I've been here for about 4 years now. Previously, I lived in Japan for many, many years. And the idea of sustainability has always been foremost in my mind. And I would like to get some ideas as to what I can do to help my community and my family and friends establish a more sustainable life. And living together, not just with each other peacefully, but with nature and being aware of our effects on nature and how that affects our lives. And just as an aside, I'm second generation Ukrainian American. So my goal is, my major bucket list is to go to the Ukraine.
Well, come, I'll meet you at the airport.
Well, we'll have to connect and see when that happens. I'll let you know. Where are you living?
I have a flat in Kyiv, but we have a farm about 140 miles south of Kyiv on the border of Cherkasy Oblast.
So, my grandmother was from Ternopil.
Ternopil. Well, I have a horse that I bought from Ternopil area. So that's my connection to Ternopil, but that was out in Western Ukraine. And that even tells me when your family left Ukraine, because a lot from Western Ukraine left at the early part of the 20th century.
Yes.
You see, how do you like that? How amazing.
Yes. And all four of my grandparents were from Ukraine, one from Ternopil and one from Odessa.
Odessa. So you're Jewish in background. They were Jewish in background.
50% Ashkenazi and 50% Ukrainian Catholic, which...
So the last thing that people want to hear is for me to tell the story about Jews in Ukraine. It's not a sad, it's a very sad story, but but anyway, that's another subject for another evening.
Yes, and I won't bore you all anymore. And if Deirdre would please introduce herself.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Deirdre. I'm in Deirdre Brown, and I'm in Poughkeepsie, New York. I am a Baha'i of 6 years, and this is my husband, John, who's munching in the background there. And, you know, this whole idea of sustainability hit home for me when John started reading a book called 11.
Oh, yes.
And it's a book that predicts that we are consuming resources on this planet at rates that are not sustainable and will result. And then this idea, this Baha'i notion that the divine presence could not have possibly put us on this little tiny globe in the midst of these vast universes to kill one another, or to starve one another, or to enforce borders and boundaries against one another. So I've been very active in the elimination of race discrimination in the United States, and that has sort of opened my eyes to some of my own, some areas of introspection that need cultivation within me. So that's what I'm doing.
A small comment. I'm faculty member for the course 11 at the Wilmette Institute.
Ah, okay.
So you ever want to talk about it? I'm ready.
Okay.
Good. That's excellent to know, Gary. Thank you for sharing that.
If you don't mind, I could also recommend another book that some of you probably have read, Braiding Sweetgrass.
Yeah.
No, that one I don't know.
It's a Native American. There are two books. This one, I'm trying to remember her name. Anyway, it's written by a Native American, and I highly recommend it. I bought copies for all my friends and family, and a lot of other people are doing the same thing.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Pastor Noah, I believe you're next. Thank you, everyone. I think you're muted. You have to unmute. Thank you.
All right. I'm Pastor Noah. I'm a pastor from Kenya. If we may know, Kenya is in East Africa, that's Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm the founder of a ministry called Lighthouse Ministries, Kenya, and also the founder of Interfaith Arise Movement Africa, or I Am Africa. We as the people of God, I believe we are the voices of God, and we are called to step forward to address the key issues that are affecting our lives. And that goes now on how can we be on the leading role, play a big role in making the world a better place to be. We are working in the community, not just evangelizing. Actually, I'm a Christian. Not just evangelizing, but we are out to fulfill the entire mission of our Lord Jesus Christ. And that cuts also now across all areas. Talk of sustainable development. How can we address these issues of perhaps economical issues, justice, equality, children? I've never heard anybody mentioning about children. We are in the community and we want to help the children to live a better life for tomorrow. And purposely I'm here because I met you in one of the Zoom meeting of Interfaith Encounter Association under Dr. Yehuta in Israel. And we have been discussing on how religions can play a key role on addressing key issues that affects all of us as just one people. Remember, we are here not divided, maybe on ideological differences. We are not to be divided on color or race. I believe personally that we are one people. And despite Baha'i or Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or whatever, we join hands to address the issues, because if it's poverty, it's affecting all of us. If it's crime arising because of religious differences, it's affecting all of us. If the lack of education, it does not affect an Islam or a Christian, it affects all of us. And if we may know, in sub-Saharan Africa, and maybe in the southern part of Africa, we are still behind in some of these issues. Perhaps one being the continuous destruction of the environment, because people are poor, and now the only resource, they are looking at the environment, and then now destroying it completely because of maybe a living or because of a need. If it's on the side of children, children are suffering due maybe to these issues, either caused by the climate degradation or caused by political strifes or caused by religious, ideological differences. And now who suffers? They are the children, the women, and the youth. So we as a church, I believe the inductive mission of our Lord Jesus Christ was not only just to preach and speak the word. He was holistically addressing issues that affected the people. And that's why in my say, I said partnership is very important. We need to come together. How can we join efforts? How can we join hands to address issues that are affecting our people? So I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy to meet some of you. And I believe we can go a step further if we are joined and if we are a team. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we're open for discussion. Go ahead. Thank you very much, Pastor Noah. Gary and then Jenny.
Pastor Noah, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever meet Wangari Maathai?
Wangari Maathai is a prominent professor who really was spearheading the environmental conservation.
She
and
was
is one lady we here highly respect in Kenya. He was on the forefront of addressing this climate challenge. And then when he died, we were really hard because we lost some. But I didn't meet her in person.
That's too bad, because she is a hero for all of Africa, not just for Kenya. She's Kenyan, of course.
Yes.
But her story is wonderful for environmentalists, for activism, and for being a wonderful Christian. And she's really very well known. She's a very strong believer. And she created communities all over Kenya and Africa to plant trees, to do environmental work. And of course, she won a Nobel Prize in 2004. And she had to fight the government at every turn, which is what I think all of us have to do these days to straighten out some of these problems in the world today, like racism and other things.
Amen. Such an excellent example for peace for all of us, peace and action. Jenny.
Thank you. So one book that I've been reading recently that I absolutely love, it's called All You Can Save. Has anybody read it?
No. All You Can Save?
All You Can Save. It's a compilation of essays and poems. And because they're so beautifully crafted and concise, it's like reading 20 books at once, all about climate change. And so some of them are about regenerative agriculture or ocean farming. One of them is about motherhood and how mothers can cope with the, well, there's other ones on PTSD and grief of climate change and how to fix yourself psychologically. And then there's others on sort of global action, local, right down to your neighborhood. They talk about, there's one about biophilic design, how to design buildings that are sustainable. And it reminds me of all of our new temples. It's buildings filled with light and sort of part of nature that just fit in with the nature. That one's beautiful. I had some passages from one that I really love, but basically it's just an excellent book. And the other thing is that January 17th is World Religion Day.
Right.
And so in our community, we're going to do a nice little virtual interfaith event. And I encourage all of the communities to celebrate World Religion Day, because in the past, we had to rent a room for $3,000 and spend 6 months organizing an event. Now we can just do it in a week on Zoom.
Thank you so much for sharing that research. Actually, thank you, all of you, for sharing your ideas, however brief time we had, and your resources. This has been fantastic. I have so much already, and we were only here together for such a short time. Deidre, I don't know if you got to say everything you wanted to say about combining race justice issues as part of your peace idea with the climate and sustainability. I didn't know if you wanted to say anything more about that.
Oh, well, I'm just starting out and exploring, but I have done in-depth, well, we've had the Race Unity Circle ongoing here for about 6 years now, every month. And I was one of the founding members of that. And we've addressed things like the color of law and why we see separation along racial and ethnic fault lines in communities, in residential areas, and residential justice in terms of where nuclear factories are put, or where, not nuclear factories, but, you know, garbage disposals and that kind of thing. So this is all new for me. This is all a new kind of mashup.
Right, that exactly. So exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That intersectionality of race, justice, and the climate. Wonderful.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I have to ask Joanne, are you related to Tom and Jean Schwandes?
Oh, I certainly am.
I knew them so many years ago when I lived in Portugal. I love the Schwandeses. Give them my